So let's go to the disallowed goal for the handball. Daz, talk to me, man. You're the one of the few football fans who's played and actually bothered to ref games.
Yeah.
Right? So at least you're talking with a little bit of insight.
With the handball one, I'm surprised that because from my perspective, that looked like a good goal. So I'm surprised that VAR has not got involved and been like, come and take a second look at this. So yeah, to me, it's complete rubbish. I don't think they've actually acknowledged that one though. I think the only one they've admitted is the penalty
that wasn't given.
Yeah. Which was blatant as well.
And I guess even to that's the one VAR did check.
Yeah.
And they still said it wasn't a penalty. And what I don't like is, well, the apology I've seen just says they've apologized to Brighton. VAR should have given a penalty. It was a mistake. The penalty wasn't given. But they don't give us the logic as to why they didn't give it. Tell us what you saw. It wouldn't help, but it wouldn't change anything. But at least
at least we know.
I think it's a bit like maths. You get the answer wrong, but show me you're working. You know? Yeah. And I think they need to do a little bit better with that explanation.
Yeah, I agree. I think whether it's VAR or just a referee on-field decision, I think refs should come out at the end of games and say, I did X, Y, Z because of A, B, C.
Yeah.
And I think even though it doesn't help the situation, because you're not going to get the points back if it's costing points or whatever, but you kind of get an understanding of how referees think during games. I can say, all right, fair enough. Like, my eye line was blocked. That's why I didn't do it. I didn't refer it to VAR because of X. And I think that makes that, like I say, you don't get the points back, but it gives you a bit of understanding of what was going through. And I just think the officials are too protected from the FA, the Premier League, etc. Just come out and say, I did this because of this.
I think we should get it during the game. It makes the game a whole lot more enjoyable.
Like rugby.
Like rugby, exactly.
I've heard that before. My only issue with that is, and rugby fans are going to kill me here, but rugby is a little bit more term-based, right? The game is designed to stop and start.
Yeah.
So you can do something, the ball goes down. The best game for that is NFL, right? It literally is designed to start and stop.
Yeah.
I think with football, I don't know, man. Free kicks are taken quickly. It's actually an advantage. If the refs told me I can put the ball down and go. If I can't put the ball down and send you off the wing because my man's explaining rule 13.2b of why he, you know what I mean? So I think it would make it better to have the explanation.
It can be done during the VAR.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
because there's a lot of time. Sometimes it's 3 minutes.
Not for any free kick, just the VAR decision.
Yeah. Even just going back to what you're saying about rugby and football, American football. Even if just the ref has a mic, like to say play on and stuff, I'd like to hear those things, bro.
No, I agree.
I'd like to hear every little minute, everything you said.
I think it happened in Australia. They mic'd up a ref for like a couple of their whatever their equivalent of the Premier League is.
A-League, I want to say?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And you kind of get understanding of what he's thinking. And you kind of, they might have been playing up because they needed a mic'd up, etc. But it does help.
I'm not going to lie, boys. I've lip-read some of these games on the Premier League.
Yeah, you'll be hearing the madness. You'll be hearing the madness.
It's a shame on the game, right? But you can't be micing up
sometimes the sideline mic.
Speaking image is done. Out.
Yeah, I think some refs would actually want it.
Yeah, I think they
want
it.
But I think the powers that be were like, no, they won't do it. And what I'd like to know is that obviously we're the public, so we're seeing these decisions, they're not being explained, but are they being explained to the clubs?
Yeah.
So are Brighton getting further information that we're not getting?
So Brighton, this is their third apology from the PGMOL this season. And then the second one, Howard Webster, he actually went to the club and explained, okay, I don't know whether he explained, but De Zerbi came out and said it's pointless because
it's after the fact.
It's after the fact. So
and they say that before the season, referees go to training grounds and this is how things are going to be. This is what the new rules mean.
Yeah. They meet all the captains, and all that kind of jazz.
I don't know if they do a little five-a-side of the ref set. Says, hey, that's a foul this season. I don't know. But I do think on that protection point, just to take it a level below. So I think it's right that they're protected from them just being gunned after the game, right? So just coming out and be like, that ref was rubbish, man. Blah, blah, blah. Because we know the influence managers, especially some popular players, have. And all it takes is for a Grealish or a Kane or someone to say this ref was rubbish, blah, blah, blah. And the Twitter people and Instagram people just catch on to it. What I don't like is if you give an opinion, So, you're not disparaging the individual. You just say, I don't think the referee had a good performance today. That can get you in trouble. And that's what I don't like. They should be able to be critiqued on their performance, on their job. What you should not be able to do, which we know managers have done, and they try to be clever about it, is basically call the guy an idiot. Yeah. I've seen people question referees' whole career, but in a sly way. Yeah, you should get a fine for that. But when my job is on the line, if I'm down near the bottom and your mistake is the difference between a 0-0 and a 1-0, I should be able to say, well, look, that referee's performance today, in my personal opinion, doesn't cut it. I'm a manager in the Premier League. I know I can make that distinction,
So sorry, Daz, you might be able to answer this. So at that level, are referees scored by the team? Because obviously we play Saturday ball, and then the referee's like, what rating would you give me for this game?
Yeah,
does that stop when you get to like a certain level of professional football?
No, there'll be an observer at every single game, so they'll be assessed at every single game, and then the club, that observer will get feedback from the clubs as well.
Oh, okay.
They're not scored as such at Sunday League, where out of 100, what did you give the referee? But yeah, they are assessed at every single game.
Yeah, which at that level makes sense, right? There's only a finite amount of games. So, and we talk about these things in extremes in terms of relegation and such. But if I'm Brighton and those that
fighting for your
potential
life, fighting for your life at Brighton or something.
Yeah,
it was down by the relegation zone. And
but even now,
getting
but for them, it's not even relegation.
Apologies and stuff like that.
But even now,
Champions League.
I was going to say,
But I'm saying, what if it's relegation?
But I don't even think it should be
bloody.
I think it's just
apologies.
I think it's just as important. So if your 2 points is the difference between me being in the Europa and the Champions League, or Europa Conference and the Europa, it's still a madness. It's still an absolute madness. People are gonna start bringing up the Brentford one about us
The offside, the
coming into the
lines.
season. If we lose the title on goal difference or by a point, trust me, like if you search Twitter for the Brentford Arsenal game, it'll probably be the most popular.
The Man
tweet that
United one
weekend.
as well. Don't get this. We've had 2 apologies this year, bro.
So I think they need to do better in terms of the VAR, how VAR is used, and I don't know whether it's a case of actually this is not about you know what, Daz, you've been a ref, you've been on the field, you should now come and be a VAR assistant referee.
Yeah,
it might have to just become its own specific job.
But one of the issues is as well, the Premier League, the way the Premier League used VAR is different from the way it was used at the World Cup and in the Champions League.
In what way? What
So-
It's automated more. In the World Cup, is more automated. It was quicker as well.
No, so the World Cup,
That's
World Cup,
offsides.
so the automated stuff. But in the Champions League, there's more kind of leeway given to the attackers and how you looked at handballs, etc. So they haven't taken a like for like.
Yes,
They've taken it, tweaked it,
and
it hasn't seemed to work.
Because in the Prem, there are only certain instances you can VAR, right?
Yeah.
You can't just VAR every decision.
Not everything, no.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think different leagues apply VAR differently. We've seen some interesting stuff. What was the game you were at? And then he put the guy for diving.
Twice.
The Leverkusen game.
Yeah.
So we can laugh 2 penalties.
Yeah.
Basically said he dived twice.
Got booked
Gave him a
twice.
yellow card twice.
And then we see both of them.
Yeah.
And I can laugh at the ref, but that's a great example of where,
VAR works.
well, in the
It's
past,
working.
that guy's he's getting sent off. Well, he might got sent off.
Yeah,
He might got sent off, right? So, yeah, I think it's getting to the point now where you're hearing, journalists who are in front of lots of football fans talking about scrapping it. Saying, look, we need to put this on ice until we can get it right. I don't agree with that because as long as humans are involved, you just got to keep doing it until we get better. The technology is fine in my mind, right? The technology is fine. The only thing I would worry about is I've heard things about, they haven't got the same camera angle we've got or something. You hear Sky or some broadcasters say that. They need to solve that. Whatever angle anyone's had, VAR should have every single one of them.
Yeah.
It should look like Minority Report in there.
No,
But
the reason why it's done like that, VAR, they have 6 cameras around the ground, and Sky or whatever could have 100 cameras.
Yeah.
But the 100 cameras that Sky have got, VAR can't use them. They can only use the 6 that they've got specifically for VAR. And it's all to do with collaboration and timing and stuff like that. With Sky's camera, it's not collaborated, so they know when the ball has left the player's foot for like an offside. So they can't use that camera. They can
I
only
understand that.
They can only use
They
can only
do
use their
other
6.
things.
They can only use their
use the
6.
I
cameras
agree,
for
but
that.
I think they should have those 6 plus be able to call on those additional angles if need be. Because again, I can't remember off the top of my head, but we've had incidents where actually a different angle shows a very, very different incident, but they haven't got access to that. So I don't think they should replace it with those cameras.
Yeah.
But the ones where they need the calibration, you're right, to draw the lines and all of that. Of course, keep those.
Yeah.
But when you've got a tackle or an incident, you know, just to the left of the centre circle, just past the halfway line, they should have access to those.
Yeah.
Because
We've had a couple instances this season where those 6 cameras, because of where they're positioned, the player who's offside or the subject has not been in shot.
Liverpool v Wolves.
Yeah, it happened at Arsenal, Liverpool as well.
Yeah,
and Saka.
Yeah,
Saka was actually offside, but the camera didn't pick him up.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's. So what do you do? Add more cameras?
No, I just think it will never be 100% perfect, and we're not asking for that. But I'm not. Twitter fans are asking for everything to be perfect all of the time, right? It's not life, but I do think if someone else, you know, Sky and all these broadcasting companies are paying a lot of money to show football. In terms of making the decision slightly easier, those officials should have access to those cameras as well. The calibration bit is tough because you see technology like Hawkeye, etc. It took them a long time to figure that stuff out for it to be used, and that's just, you know, in a largely individual sport, one person to one person and a set of lines. It took ages to get that goal line technology to a point where it could work in the Prem, and then we had someone blocking the camera, so it didn't work, you know? So it will never be perfect, but I think we just need to give them a bit more tools. And Howard Webb needs to do something about the standard there.
Yeah. My only issue is a foul is not a foul across the board. A handball is not a handball across the board. You can have 10 referees looking at the same incident, and 5 of you will give you one a handball, and the other 5 won't. So it's not the actual technology.
No, of course not. It's the humans.
It's the humans using it. Where I don't understand how you can meet they get 2 months off in the summer to review all the incidents. How come the next season they're still getting these incidents wrong where they say, right, the handball starts from the top of the shoulder down.
Yeah.
If it hits there, it's a handball. They should know what's kind of a unnatural position, what's a natural position. You kind of get to work, like, I'm not saying I'm an expert, but you can kind of see what's a natural position and unnatural.
What I struggle to fathom is
they should just have an agreement of what's what, man. Like,
no, but they do. But I guess what I struggle with,
it's like a judgment call.
Even as
But
fans,
we're all
I'm saying
humans,
it shouldn't be an opinion. There should be, this is it. Like,
but
it
takes
takes it out.
The image, what the video is showing you, isn't clear cut enough for you to apply that very black and white bit. But then you do see stuff like Matoma's one, and 99.8% of us will say that was an handball. Unfortunately, one of the 0.2% was sitting in the video. Well, they didn't even look at it.
Do you know what it was?
On that one.
With that one, the linesman gave it as handball.
Yep.
And so the judgment call changed to, can I see enough to change that call to say it's not handball? I believe, had the guy been given the goal and not said anything, I think that goal would have been given. Because
VAR would have checked it.
So VAR, if they're not 100% certain it's a mistake, they will go with the on-field decision. And the on-field decision was that it was handball. So that's why I believe that.
So do you think scrapping, it has to be a clear and obvious error, should get scrapped? If it's just up for debate, just take it to VAR. Because it only goes to VAR if it's a clear and obvious error. So if you get rid of that clear and obvious,
I think everyone wants the referee to give as many decisions as possible.
I think that's changing now.
Talking now, you know what I think they should do? It should be what sport? It's a bit like tennis. You got 3 calls.
A challenge.
And cricket,
challenge.
Cricket as well.
If it's not whatever obvious, say to ref, big man, VAR that, please.
Yeah.
Right? But you've got 3. And you can't use all 3 in the first half. You know that kind of vibe?
No, I think they'll have 1. I think they'll start with 1.
Yeah.
But 3 is probably too much for 90 minutes.
What, over 90 minutes?
Yeah.
One each half.
One each half.
One each half would probably be better,
Yeah. All right, Faye, don't let me anywhere near your process.
Can I just say one thing though? I'm glad that they are actually acknowledging mistakes and coming out, because that's a new thing. I've never heard of them actually coming out. I think it's something that Howard was.
When it's that obvious, bro, they have to.
Mistakes have been going on for years. They've never come out and said this is the actual
when
mistake.
you've got VAR, and you're looking at something and you still get it
they
wrong.
still don't have to come out and say, you know what, this was a definite mistake.
That is right. Early days of VAR, we weren't getting public apologies though. Early days when it was all a bit higgy.
Yeah, but
we
the pressure
I think it's a Howard Webb thing.
Yeah, I think it's Howard Webb. Yeah,
he's how can I put this politely? he's always loved it a bit, innit?
Yeah.
So he's
Has
He
this
never.
liked-
been, has
he
this
liked
been
the
the worst
limelight.
season of VAR?
No, I don't think so.
It'd be interesting to look at the end of the
You have
season
to look at
because
stats.
they normally do a table
I
of
think the first one was worse.
teams that have got.
It's always going to be worse. It's
Wrong
transition,
decision.
isn't it? But you'd have to look at the stats to actually justify what it is. isn't it?
When people ain't drawing lines and that's crazy, bro.
But no, but you see that.
He's not there
You
no
see
more,
that?
innit?
That's
Mm,
just
he's
a
been
man.
sa- yeah.
That's just a man who didn't do his job that day.
Bruv, that one incident had like 2-3 offsides in it. That one incident to cancel,
Like,
just to cancel a goal. You know,
can't
he had
blame-
three
you know,
chances.
you
You
didn't
can't blame
even
VAR
have
for
to
that.
draw the
You
line.
can't blame VAR. That's just a man that
It's
just didn't do his
madness,
job. Did he get fired?
Yeah. Well, he got
Mutually-
mutually
yeah.
basically fired.
No, that's
Yeah.
mad.
Basically,
Yeah.
he was checking the foul for so long,
Mm.
he forgot to draw the lines. He forgot there was a second incident.
Oh, that's harsh, man.
But
How
I think
is that
it's-
harsh,
I think
though?
it's
Nah, it's
pressure
not-
as well.
this
I
is-
think
We're talking about
Man's
millions
lost
of
his
pounds
job,
of
bro.
money, bro. I don't like that for
But
anybody. But that's a
there's
lot
the
of money
VAR
on the
should
line,
say
bro.
there's a foul here and there's an offside.
Yeah, so check the foul
So
first.
But why is it just
He's
one
got
man
his
as well?
rules. He just forgot his job. He just
But it shouldn't be just one man, though.
No, I swear there's like three of them in the truck.
yeah, just ask.
Or wherever it's
you
not-
know that.
Surveillance truck, yeah?
watching too much CSI. Bro.
Yeah, we got
But
them.
one
lads.
thing you said about in Europe, UEFA, they use it differently. They have more people in there. So I believe it's 3 people for the Premier League. But in UEFA, they have about 6 or 7. So the team is a lot bigger.
Yeah.
So that's
3 is
probably
enough, though, no? Surely one of them should be looking at the foul. The other one should be looking at the lines.
Well, I mean, we don't know what the 3 people are doing, did it?
Poor man. What are they doing in there then?
Yeah.
But with anything where the human has to operate it, there was always
There's
scope
gonna be
that
errors.
someone was just going to do madness. I can't believe he's lost his job. He couldn't like.
No,
you know,
Jay,
that's-
he was
that's-
solely a
that's
VAR
poor.
operator. He didn't ref any more games. His only job
Was to look at
was
lines.
to look at the screens,
Listen,
and he
if
got
that
it
was
wrong.
any of our jobs, we don't get fired for that.
You would if you're doing
Nah,
a
John
very
Lowe.
if you're doing a
John
job
Lowe.
that is critical and you make a big mistake like that, of course you're getting
That's
fired.
incompetence,
And
bro.
you're not even called upon for the whole 90 minutes.
You're getting paid a hefty salary and you don't know how to do your job. That's what
Hefty.
that's saying.
He made a mistake.
That's not knowing how to do your job.
Hold on, you know what? I'm talking like I know if that's the first mistake he made. Maybe he just wasn't good
And
over.
it wasn't the first
Yeah.
mistake as well. That wasn't the first mistake.
Well, his one.
Yeah, that wasn't the first mistake.
Oh.
He's done it as well.
What do we think about the time it takes? Because I believe that mistake was made because of the time. We've got this pressure around VAR that, oh my God, it takes so long, all these outsiders.
Honestly,
so there's
I don't
pressure.
care.
Yeah.
I don't
But
care
you've
either.
taken so long, so you might as well just take longer and
I don't care.
No, I
Yeah,
agree.
because
You
at
need
the
to get
time-
the right
the
decision.
pressure-
Yeah, at
At
the
the
time,
time, they're always worried about, oh, the fans are sitting there doing nothing. But
I don't
I'd
care.
rather
But
get
no,
the,
but the
I'd
only
rather
issue with
get
that is
the right decision.
a lot of the fans in the stadium don't know what's going on. So that's another point with VAR, where things are referred,
Yeah.
and then sometimes there's not a screen. So like if you're at Anfield, for example, we haven't got any screens. We just got the scoreboard. So
No screens.
No,
I'm
brother.
glad the boys are back down to London, man.
it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. I'm just saying
Trenches
that
up.
the fans don't
Can't you get
always
someone
know.
told up a ball and the VAR?
The fans don't always know what's going on. So
Yeah.
there should be
I
some
think they should
communication
play
in
the
the
whole
stadium.
thing. I think they should
But
play
other
it
than
on the
that,
screens
take as
as well.
long as it
Go on,
takes.
T.
I think they should play it on the screens as well.
Yeah.
What, the actual incident?
Yeah.
Why not?
Well,
Why?
not?
Why wouldn't you play the whole
Slippery
incident?
slope. No.
If
Why?
it is where it is,
I think it can
VAR,
rile up,
innit?
rile
So
up the
no,
crowd.
because
Unless it's clear, it
Listen,
can still rile up the crowd.
I'll give you a good
a
example.
handball, or offside, you can see the lines they've drawn. So you can, so the fans inside can see what's going on,
I
what they're
appreciate
doing.
your transparency, yeah, but I'm not gonna lie. If it's a spicy game, yeah, it's already spicy. You've just done a nice Terrell special on the left back because you're a winger, you can't tackle. Yeah,
Lifted man up.
we do not need that replaying from 3 different angles of the screen for the crowd.
Yeah.
You know, like when boxing or UFC fights over and they show the
team as
replay.
well. Yeah,
And you hear the crowd go,
Nah, we're not doing
I
that.
suppose
We're not doing that.
offsides you could because that's a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the only type of instance that you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the
yes,
time it takes, I don't care.
Yeah, just add it on. Add it on.
Yeah, I've been in the stadium waiting. Brother, I care that the decision is right.
That's
and,
it.
And fans care when it doesn't benefit them, innit?
Mm.
When it's their team and it's a goal, they'll wait 40 minutes
Yeah,
for the goal to get awarded.
Yeah.
So I'm not hearing any of that. Well, look, VAR, we've talked, again, another week, we've talked too much about you. Sort it out.